Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
Today, I want to talk about skeleton games. Now, what I mean by this are games that release and don't have a lot of meat on their bones, they're just the skeleton. Now, this skeleton might be good, it might be a great basis, a great structure for an awesome game, just with not a lot of content, not a lot of meat on its bones. And there's quite a few examples of this that have come out recently. We've got Star Wars Battlefront that has been criticised heavily for not having enough content. It's only got 10 maps, 5 close quarters maps and 5 large maps, with 10 game modes. We then have Rainbow Six Siege, which has 10 maps with night and day variants and 3 game modes. And to an extent, you could also argue that Counter-Strike Global Offensive was a skeleton game when it initially came out back in 2012. Now, these are all games that are very similar in terms of mechanics. Two of them are competitive shooters, but all 3 of them are shooters on a basic level. Now, if we look at Counter-Strike and Star Wars Battlefront, we can see that they are 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. One of them is massively successful and has millions of players each day, whereas Star Wars Battlefront has a maximum peak of about 30,000 on the PC. Even though it's a lot higher on console, it's a lot less popular than what Counter-Strike Global Offensive is. And then we have Rainbow Six Siege, which I perceive to be a kind of middle ground, because it's definitely nowhere near as successful as Star Wars Battlefront. I think the main reason why that's successful is because it's part of the Star Wars franchise. Rainbow Six Siege doesn't have anything that draws people to it like that, apart from the Tom Clancy's badge. So let's have a look at the structure of how these 2 games are being sold. Well, if we look at Counter-Strike, obviously it's the most successful. This game has free maps and paid skins. So once you pay the £12 entry cost, you get everything else for free. All new DLC is free. The only thing that you have to pay for are skins and weapon cases and keys. That's how Counter-Strike funds itself. That's how new content is developed, and that's how it's funded. The money that Valve earns from cases and keys and skins and all that sort of stuff, all of that money helps to fund the new content, the new maps, the new weapons. All the work that people do on Counter-Strike is funded now by the microtransactions through DLC. Now, if we have a look at Star Wars Battlefront, this is the less successful, or less popular, I should say, shooter of the 2. This game does have DLC, like Counter-Strike, but the difference between this DLC and Counter-Strike's DLC is that this costs £40 on top of the entry cost of £50. So in total, you're actually paying £90 for everything in this game. Whereas if we look at Counter-Strike, this has a very small entry cost of £12, and it actually goes on sale frequently. I think you can get it for about £6 if it goes on sale. A very small entry cost of £12, and once you pay that fee, you get everything else for free. Unless you want to go for the skins, in which case you can waste your life going for them. But anyway, there's a massive difference between how much Star Wars Battlefront costs and how much Counter-Strike costs. So let's have a look at Rainbow Six Siege. As I mentioned, I feel like this game is a decent middle ground. The main reason why it falls down is because the entry fee is too expensive. I can't find this game anywhere for cheaper than £30. Even on the key reseller sites, I can't find it any cheaper than £30. Which is bloody expensive considering that it's only got 10 maps and 3 game modes. However, once you pay this £30, the developers over at Ubisoft have said that all future DLC content is going to be free, and that's because it uses the same sort of model as what Counter-Strike uses, where the skins and like the XP boosts are paid. So if you want to buy them, then that's a microtransaction, and those microtransactions fund the development of new content. So I think in order for Rainbow Six Siege to become a successful competitive shooter like Counter-Strike has done over the past few years, it really needs to lower that entry cost, which of course is going to happen as time passes on. But I think the lower that entry cost goes, the more appealing that Rainbow Six Siege is going to become as a game. And of course, as time develops, the skeleton of Rainbow Six Siege is going to become more meatier and meatier as more maps come out, more people start to play it. So I think we just have to see how time passes on. I think skeleton games do have a place in the gaming community, but I think that their presence gets better and better, or more prominent, as time passes. You can almost compare Rainbow Six Siege with The Elder Scrolls Online, which for the first year of its life costs £40 to enter, and then a further £10 subscription fee after that. Whereas now, all you have to pay is the £40 entrance fee, and then you don't have to pay any money after that. So once the developers realised that their subscription model was not going to work out for them, they scrapped it. So I think that as Ubisoft begin to realise that lowering the cost of the entry fee is going to bring in more players, and actually in the end it's going to make them more money, because the more people that they get coming in, the more people there are to spend money on skins and renown XP boosts and whatever. So I think once Ubisoft realise this and the price is driven down, I think that Rainbow Six Siege is going to become a pretty prominent competitive first-person shooter in the world of video games. But what's your take on this? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that skeleton games have a place in the gaming community? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight. Spooky, scary skeletons speak with such a screech. You'll shake and shudder in surprise when you hear these zombies shriek. We're so sorry, skeletons, you're so misunderstood. You only want to socialize.